Hello and welcome back, everybody. Our next session is going to be the secrets to volume selling with car supermarket bosses. We've got Andy Coulthurst from Trade Centre UK, Leo Nelson from Carshop, and Neil Smith from Imperial car supermarkets. Please, guys, come up to the stage. Hello.
Welcome, guys, welcome. Okay, as before, if you've got any questions for our panellists, please stick your hand up and I'll try and get to you. Rebecca or I will try to spot you and we'll get your questions as soon as we can. But firstly, Andy, what's the secret to running a successful car supermarket?
I think the secret is very much the same as running a smaller car dealership. You know, if you're an owner driver of a business, you need to take pride in the appearance of your stock, in the professionalism of your staff, and you've got to have a competitive edge in the market. In a crowded market, you've got to shout from the rooftops and drive customers into the business ultimately.
Leo?
I think from our perspective, we've very much invested in our digital capability over the last 3-5 years, and also putting a lot of science behind the decisions we make within the business, particularly with regard to where we're acquiring stock and how we're acquiring it and the pricing decisions. That's really one of the key ingredients to our success over the last 3 years.
Neil, what's the secret to your success?
Similar, but for us it's product, price, place, promotion, the 4 Ps. It's covering best practice, making sure vehicles are prepared to the right standard, they're marketed at the right price. We're looking to turn the stock as quickly as possible, and training, salespeople, best customer experience. It's all the basics, just doing them right, but with volume.
So what are the challenges that you guys are facing at the moment? Andy, do you want to start?
Sorry, what was that?
What are the challenges you're facing?
With a business of our size, the main challenges are the logistics of, when you're talking our new store in Wednesbury in the West Midlands, we've got in excess on retail display at any one time, anything between 1,200 and 1,400 used cars. And that site consistently, since it opened at Easter, has retailed between 250 and 300 cars a week, which is an incredible amount of vehicle movements, and it's keeping the consistency whilst you're doing that volume of all of your key KPIs, which we have managed to achieve with the opening of that store as well. But that's our biggest challenge, is logistics of an operation of that scale, really.
Leo?
I think one of the key areas is recruiting and retaining some of the top talent in the industry, and not necessarily looking from within, trying to attract some of that good talent that may be working in other retail businesses that might not have considered a career in automotive, not necessarily on the customer front end roles, but also within our internal teams, within our software development and marketing teams, and those areas. That's where some of the challenge sits today.
And what about you, Neil?
Challenges, preparation, getting cars through as quickly as possible through the process. Again, we're not quite as many as Andy, but we're retailing 900 odd cars a month, so we've got to be preparing that number or more. And we've grown as a business pretty quickly, so it's just managing that growth. And then keeping ahead of the game in terms of digital marketing, keeping ahead of the curve, making sure you're at the forefront there. Probably just heard from Google, everything that we do is based around all the analytics and insight that we're provided with from partners and people like Google. And staff is a massive challenge all the time, getting the right staff. It's amazing what a decent team of people will do in a dealership. If you have the right people, you'll do well. If you don't, you won't. So training, staff recruitment, and...
Leo, would you mind telling the audience how many cars you're retailing as well on a weekly basis, if you know? To give some context.
Well, it's on a weekly basis, it's upward of 600.
Wow. And how many staff do you guys each have across these businesses to be able to sell that many cars?
So a typical one of our outlets of the 3 larger stores will have, including their share of the preparation facility, which is only one preparation facility in Wales, and one preparation facility in the Midlands. We've only got that one store there. Each of the sites will have on average just over 100 staff on site. Typically a sales team will be between 20 and 40 sales execs depending on the size of the store.
Right. What about a Carshop?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
How many staff do you need to sell that many cars? How many staff do you have on the books?
Well, across the business, we're just approaching 600 at the moment, and that's right across all of the sales teams and all the back office functions that are required to support the day-to-day operation of the business.
And what about Imperial?
We're around the 250 mark on staff across the sites. We've got 6 sites, 3 larger sites, 2 medium, 1 small, and then 1 preparation centre.
Cool.
So guys, you guys have got huge marketing budgets. Where do you spend it and what works for you? Andy?
We spend our marketing typically above the line, so TV, radio, outdoor press, digital. We're not huge classified advertisers. We don't advertise our cars on Auto Trader. We do advertise our cars with the Motors network, which works quite well for us, and we do display advertising with Motors as well. But we invest significantly. In Wales, we spend, across 3 stores, we spend £250,000 a month on advertising. And we're spending in the Midlands ongoing just north of 400,000 a month.
And what works the best for you?
The mixture works the best. You've got to be across everything, whether it's having your brand on the local petrol pumps or it's having the big digital billboards at the side of the motorway. Everything in combination delivers the big footfall.
Leo, what's your marketing look like? It's your expertise?
Very different than Andy's. It's predominantly digital. Most the budget is deployed into digital channels now. Very little above the line. Predominantly Google. Obviously, we work with a range of the online marketplaces, but as Andy says, actually, the mix is very important. We're constantly trying to understand which channels are playing a role in influencing the purchase. I think having one channel to deliver one sale is not what happens today. Consumers enter the market and will be in market for quite a considerable amount of time, and in that time they'll be touching multiple channels, multiple touch points, which will all be playing a part in their decision to firstly purchase maybe that particular vehicle, and then where is that particular vehicle, can I trust this particular dealer that's retailing it. So that process and that consumers go through, understanding the sort of psychology that sits behind it's quite important, and ultimately we're looking for a return on investment in any of the channels that we're investing in.
Thank you. Neil?
Yeah, similar to Leo really, but we have experimented in the past 8 months with sort of Sky AdSmart and DAX radio advertising. So for me, that's more digital now than traditional TV and radio. It's highly targeted. We do very little outdoor. We don't do press at all anymore. We do a little bit of sponsorship, but probably if you're looking for a split on budget, 85% is digital, 15% goes on other activities.
So what do you guys think about when it comes to selling cars online? Is that something that you would pursue? To start with you, Andy.
Part of our business, we're 2 businesses in one. So we do have an online captive car finance company called Can Car Finance. And whilst we don't sell the car online, we do deal with hundreds of customers in our stores every day that are coming in pre-approved for credit with an appointment to purchase a car. And that's a huge success for us in giving us an extra layer of business on top of the normal retail footfall that we see every day.
Do you think you would ever sell cars directly through the website?
No.
Why?
Because that's not our business model that we have at the moment. It's hugely successful. And we prefer to bring a customer in and be dazzled with a massive choice of cars rather than try and pinpoint a customer down to a car online and lose some of the impact that our investment in our premises and our stock.
That makes a lot of sense. Leo, what about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something that the market is moving towards. I think consumer demand will continue to build in that particular area. Today we're already seeing 60% of our sales coming through some form of appointed business. We offer the ability for customers to reserve a car online for a fully refundable £99 deposit. We allow customers to start their finance application online, and we'll be very soon offering a guaranteed valuation on part exchange. So those three component parts really will enable us to move much more closer to transactional capability on the website. But if customers want to take it that far, have the car potentially delivered or to be collected from the location, the actual decision made to buy on the website, that's fine. But equally, if they want to walk into store and be wowed and browsed by the range of stock that Carshop has on offer as well, then equally we can service that need. So it's very much really being driven by what the consumers are asking for, rather than trying to push consumers into a particular direction.
Excellent. What about you, Neil?
Yeah, it's something we've looked at over the last 18 months. We offer what we call a click, call, collect service, and about 5% of our sales are handled that way. So we'll do the deal over the phone, online, guarantee the part exchange value, get the finance pre-approved. The benefit of the customer then, they're far more confident to travel distance to come and look at that car. We take them out of the showroom experience then as well, so it saves them 2 hours talking to a salesman, because a lot of customers don't like talking to salesmen. And then we deliver the car, and 98% of those customers drive that car away. So as long as you get that process right and you make it very clear to the customer that that guaranteed part exchange value is based on their appraisal and there's no discount on the vehicle they're coming to look at, and make that very clear, then that's a very successful way to sell cars. The next stage for us would be to take that to delivery. But there's a few barriers there in terms of finance sign-up, getting professionals to deliver the cars, the actual delivery of the vehicle, the cost of delivery, the cost of having to pick the car up if it's not the right car for them. So there's a few barriers there before we go down the delivery route.
Okay, I think we'll throw things over to the audience for a moment. Has anybody got a question they'd like to ask these guys? Anybody, if you stick your hand up, Nigel will spot you. Anybody? No? Okay. Everybody's very shy today. So you've all talked about staff and staff retention. Have you got a special interview process to find new members of your teams? It must be really difficult and probably a constant churn. I mean, how do you manage to do it, and how does it work?
We've just recruited 130 staff in total for the new Midland site that opened at Easter. And whilst we did for some more of the more technical roles, such as vehicle technicians, we did more of a one-to-one based interview. For a lot of the customer-facing roles, we did group sessions. We typically get, say, for a car sales role, we weren't recruiting from the industry, we were recruiting from retail, call centres, and we'd bring 8 or 10 candidates into the room, and they would be expecting to be broken up and do one-to-one interview. But what we actually did was divide them into pairs, and they were told that they wouldn't be interrupted, and they had 20 minutes to interview each other. And actually seeing the interaction and the body language of those candidates dealing with what could be a customer in your showroom actually was very, very successful. And say we had 4 or 5 members of our team in the room, actually after that 20 minutes we were all on the same page as to who would be a potential successful candidate and who wouldn't be. And then we did do some 10-minute relaxed one-to-one interviews with those that were successful. It was a little bit of X factor where you've got to chuck the guys who've not been successful out, but it worked, everybody enjoyed it.
Can I ask quickly, and this is going to sound really strange if it wasn't you, but did you get posted a shoe? I
did get posted a shoe, yeah.
This is one of my favourite stories. Did he get the job?
Somebody sent me a shoe in the post with a letter saying that he wanted to be one of the first to get his foot in the door. Yeah, it was quite amusing.
Did it work?
No, he actually turned out to be some social media guru who wanted to be a supplier in the end. Yeah.
Oh.
So, Leo, I'm a big fan of group interviews in my business, and it sounds like it's working for Andy. I mean, what about yourself? How do you find good stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Very similar. We run recruitment days, particularly for our customer-facing roles, where in a very similar way, we'll get a group of potential candidates together and run a triage session. Lots of different activities enable those people to engage and collaborate with one another, so we can put them through an assessment process. And we find that works very well for us. In my immediate team. For some more specialist technical roles, having those candidates meet potential peers and colleagues rather than it just being a one-to-one interview over a stage process, we find works very well. Enables for both sides that potential candidate to meet the team that they'll potentially be working with, as well as the team understand who they might be getting to sit alongside every day.
Neil, any tricks when it comes to finding good staff?
The only thing, well, we'll run recruitment days. We use online recruitment services, but we also operate internal referral program, and that tends to work quite well. So friends of friends of friends. At least those individuals know what to expect when they come into the business, and the person referring gets a bit of a financial bonus 3 months down the road. But it is a constant process. So we have a recruitment manager who is constantly recruiting. There's no stopping of that process.
So do you all use video in your dealerships? You've got quite a lot of cars to video if you do.
No, we don't use video. We don't image the majority of our stock because we don't use traditional classified advertising to drive footfall. So, our website lists the fastest selling cars, but we don't replenish stock on a daily basis. We just replenish those fast selling cars. But we've got no reliance on sending a feed of cars to an auto trader, so we don't need to do that.
That's cool. What about you?
Well, in terms of merchandising our vehicles, we have a central preparations facility, and all of the vehicles are merchandised at the end of that preparation process. We're taking 36 images with the doors closed, 36 images with the doors open, so 72 in total, which we can stitch together to create an illusion of a video, if you like. So it's a 360 spin, and we're using those obviously on our website and pushing them out to partners. Within the team, we have a motion graphics specialist, so somebody who has the capability to build video content, which we're using across social media. So less about using it to promote individual vehicles, more about promoting the brand and engaging with the brand across other platforms. But I do think that if we can find a way to operationalize video, it could be very useful to enable customers to find a bit more information about and answer some very specific questions about certain vehicles during the sales process. But we're trying to do that at scale at the moment. Would probably be a bit of a challenge for us.
What about you, Neil?
Similar to Leo, really. We don't video the cars. We take 36 external, doors open, doors shut. We do a 360-degree internal panoramic, and we do the hot spots. So it's more about, I think, as the chap from Volkswagen was saying earlier, it's more about interactive, getting the customer engaged with that. That's not something that we can feed out to Auto Trader at present. So we're also looking at how we can maybe utilise that video option, and it may be just stitching those 36 images together into a video, 72 images. But for us, it's more important for us to get the traffic from those portals to our website, because we do the best job of selling the car. So I'd rather they were clicking through to the website and using our tools, which are far more engaging than are currently offered.
What about content? Do any of you guys use motoring content, news or features to boost your SEO on your website, Neil?
We use independent reviews on the vehicles, so car and driving reviews. So those are automatically appended to every vehicle that we've got, make, model, derivative. We want to keep the customer on our website, so rather than have to go off to What Car or something like that to get an independent view. So we'll use that. We'll use the content from those reviews as well, which is quite extensive in terms of make, model, derivative, and a set of criteria scored out of 10. We put a lot of effort into the content side per make, model, derivative on that website to give the customer a bit more confidence.
Leo, do you use content on your website in that way?
Yeah, absolutely, on our own website and pushed across social channels. So in addition to the video that I mentioned before, there's a content specialist in my team that is writing and creating content around topical conversations, anything, I'm sure there'll be something about today, the news article that's published on the website. But as far as individual vehicles go, we have a merchandising team that will write a unique description for each vehicle, and also a little snippet as well, which is almost like an attention grabber to kind of get a little bit of exposure for that particular vehicle in a busy search listing, whether it be on our website or on one of the marketplaces.
We typically just promote on the website all of the stuff that we do in the community. So we sponsor lots of children's football teams in Wales and now in the Midlands as well. And we put our own internal news on, but beyond that, from a digital strategy, we're more traditional. We don't do that.
And in terms of the market this year, I mean, how confident are you for the rest of this year? Is sales going to increase, Neil?
Yeah, year on year, we're 8% up on units, 12% up on profit so far, calendar year. To put that in context, we had a bit of a flat year last year. We opened 2 sites over a 12-month period. But yeah, the signs are good at the moment. We're not seeing any impact from Brexit, or obviously for us the VED changes have been positive because we're selling vehicles registered before that date. So yeah, everything's looking pretty positive at the moment.
Super. Leo?
Yeah, very similar. We're up year on year, which is off the back of a big growth on the previous year, so very pleased with that performance. Obviously, we've got the election to get through, and I think the news output and consumers are quite distracted in the moment with various things going on externally. This year's been a very, very successful year for us. Very pleased.
And Andy, what are your hopes for the rest of this year?
Well, this year in Wales we're selling 50% more used cars than we did last year, but that's only because we went into competition with ourselves and opened a 3rd store in the territory where we were already retailing cars into. But we did get that 50% lift from opening the Cardiff store, and from Easter this year we opened the new Midland store in Wednesbury, and that's essentially overnight doubled our retail unit sales, because we're selling almost as many cars from that one store as we're selling in the whole of Wales. So yeah, it's a big growth trajectory for us at the moment.
Fantastic. We probably have time for just one question from the audience, if there's anybody who wants to ask.
Hi, this one's directed to Andy. With regards, I'm still very fond of the traditional media with regards to with the press, but we always found it very difficult to attribute how well each of the parts of that did. So how do you track your marketing in that regard?
We track it very much, and you shouldn't say this, but by instinct and trial and error. So we're turning things on and off consistently, and we're so close to the business in terms of working down on the shop floor with the guys. We can immediately see if something is working or not working, and when something's working, we'll do a little bit more of it, although we tend to saturate what we're doing already. If we add a marketing partner and we don't see footfall or sales volume increasing, then we'll turn that back off again and just see what impact it has on and off basis. But we've got a fairly tried and tested formula, but I would probably still suggest that 30% of what we spend our money on probably doesn't work. But as a whole, we're very successful at driving footfall.
Well, thank you guys for coming along. It's all been really interesting. On the live stage in a few moments, we're going to be speaking to the bosses of Ford, Mazda, Kia and Mitsubishi. So please come back at past to see that. But thank you so much, guys, for taking the time out to talk to us.